everybody? We are back. It is Taped on Live Favorites Podcast, Favorites Channel, Favorites Everything. We are back. You already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasubs.com. Discount code for 25% off. All right. So today we are looking at Armand Mimu and Jordan Phillips, defensive tackle and offensive tackle, right? Who are both options for the Raiders to be looking at and drafting here this week. So and that's what we're getting ready for. We got the draft in 5 days now, 6, 5.
Yeah, I mean, I guess 5 from. I guess 5, yeah, from when this will come out. Yeah. 6 from
6 from the recording, recording it, but
No, 5 from the recording, 4 from the drop. Our math, we're not math guys here. We're film guys. That's why we don't like analytics. That's how much we hate analytics.
Exactly. We're like just John Gruden guys. We hate analytics.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, but before we get into the film and looking at those two players, Colton Miller is sitting out. He's not going to voluntary workouts. He's volunteering not to go. He's voluntary. I'm not going because you're not paying me. So he's not gonna get fined or anything like that. It's pretty normal. I think we'd probably be talking more about it if he doesn't go like the OTAs or mini camp. That would be like, okay. That's it's really, really serious. But what are your thoughts on that, Matt?
I mean, I don't know if I've talked about it on here, but I know I've gotten a few questions about like offensive linemen and Armand Mimu and Will Campbell, of course, and like the mailbag column I do. And I've kind of said for a while, like, I do think taking an offensive tackle at 6 is one of those sneaky needs that could end up happening that people aren't realizing because Colton Miller is in place. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Miller is entering a contract year and he's about to turn 30. He turns 30 in October.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, that's not terribly old for an offensive lineman. It's a little bit different. But when you factor in, like, he's been battling injuries the last 2 years. I mean, part of the reason why he got off to a slower start last season was because he missed all of OTAs, all of minicamp last year. And then I think like halfway through training camp was finally healthy and ready to go. And then on top of it, you get a new regime who might want to bring in their own type of guys. I mean, we've already seen John Spytek and Pete Carroll let guys like Trevon Merrick, Nate Hobbs, Robert Spillane, guys who've been key players for the Raiders over the last 2 years walk in free agency because they got priced out of that of where they were, or they were priced out of what the Raiders weren't comfortable with paying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's definitely an option that Colton Miller isn't on the team next year. This year, I don't know 100%. I think probably makes a little bit more sense if you really do want to be good and go after this and do everything that they've talked about or win now, which, I mean, again, maybe that's some off-season coach speak. That's not really their real intentions. I think you obviously keep Colton Miller, but if the guy wants a new contract, he won't show up without one. You're not going to re-sign him anyway. Maybe you do look at moving him next weekend, seeing if the Patriots would be willing to give up some sort of pick for him because they need a left tackle and stuff like that. So I think it's on the table that Miller could be gone soon, and his days might be numbered, whether it's this year or next year. And it's just a matter of kind of when it would happen for me at this point. But I do agree with you. Like, it gets real serious. These holdouts, when it becomes an actual holdout and when he starts missing the mandatory stuff, the voluntary stuff, I guess you can kind of look the other way. But one interesting thing I did see that Vinny was talking about was Miller was actually he was considering doing this like last year, like not showing up and trying to get a new deal. But he was injured. So it's like, well, you don't have a ton of leverage when you're injured and you can't practice anyway. Yeah. So it was just a moot point. So the timing didn't work out for him last year. But yeah, it is an interesting situation, one we're going to have to keep eyes on. And again, who they take at 6 next weekend will be a big indication on what their feelings are with Colton Miller's future.
Yeah, because what's going on with Colton Miller is, what you pointed out, like the guaranteed money is not there, right? As he doesn't have no guaranteed money this year. He's only getting paid like $12 million to something like that. Nothing crazy, like, and that's a really low for offensive tackle of his caliber. Whether you think how good he is, or whatever you want to believe, he's a good tackle, no matter how you slice it. Like, you could say whatever you want. Maybe the injuries affected him last year, and maybe you didn't like some of his play early on, but overall, like, since his whole career, he's been a good tackle. Like
Yeah.
he's good against the run, he's good against the pass. He might not be great in certain things, but he's good enough to be paid more than 12 million. Like there, I mean, there's probably some tackle this year that's got paid. Like he's probably watching all these guys get paid free agency. He's like, I'm better than these guys at least, right? And that's a big probably thing for him in his mind. So it makes sense that he is looking for that new contract because yeah, I mean, if he went in the market, like if they let him go, let's say they released him before free agency, he would get a whole bunch of money. Like somebody would pay big money, like the Chiefs would be paying him 22 million or something like that. They overpay to bring in Colton Miller because yeah, I mean, he would upgrade their whole offensive line, just having that left tackle out there. That's good, right? I mean, and Patrick Mahomes would be able to handle it. He'd probably play a lot better because he would, just how Patrick Mahomes handles the pocket. He'd probably look better a little bit. So those things are important to nab a tackle because yeah, if you have a plan to move on from him, then you got to draft a tackle. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
draft him early, and that's my thing with tackles, man. If you going to get a tackle and you want to get a franchise tackle for the position, you got to draft them early because if you're drafting in the third and the fourth round, you're dealing with projects, guys that have to get a lot better, and I think tackles that are taken in the first round are a lot more ready to go, and you could probably put them out there and let them get the NFL growing pains. It's going to work out better for you. But we'll see what the Raiders do. Like I said, I'm doing Armand Membou today, and he just kind of seems like something that the Raiders would like. So
Yeah. The two things I want to say. So the $12 million a little bit skewed because like I'm looking it up at over the cap. Like his contract I think was pretty front loaded, so he's at like 18 per year, which still is like I'm looking at it, it's probably like eyeballing it like 10, 12 among left tackles. So like you said, like he's probably seeing a guy like Darisaw and like Andrew Thomas getting paid and all those guys and wants to get somewhere at least close to those guys. He probably wants to be in that like $20 to $25 million range. So so I get that from that standpoint. But the other thing is too, like, and you mentioned it, like if you're trading Colton Miller, like I know some people are talking about like, oh, if you trade Colton Miller, then Ashton Genty's going to the Patriots. Like, right. But if the Raiders trade Colton Miller, they're taking a left tackle at 6. like we talk about this offensive line, like it's solid. Like, what they can afford to upgrade some starters on the interior and stuff like that. But if they get rid of Colton Miller, like that dramatically changes the projection for the offensive line for next season. So yeah, I think if they're gonna move on from Miller, like you almost have to take a tackle early. If not at 6, probably in that second round at 37, because you have no one behind him essentially. And I mean, Geno Smith would be going from playing behind the worst offensive line in the league last year to another rough one if Miller isn't there with the Raiders.
Yeah. They have to, especially this late. There's no upgrades for him if you trade him or release him. So they have to play with him in the season. Like, I mean, they're gonna try to figure something out, and maybe figure out something that maybe they haven't out. But trading a left tackle is something you just don't see a lot. I mean, how many left tackles get traded? Like, if they're good, like that is
Tunsil got traded a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Tunsil got traded, and he's good too. So
yeah,
but Tunsil's an asshole though. It's a little different. He's an asshole. So. That might be a little bit of a personality trade. You know what I mean? Gotcha. Him and D'Amico Ryans not working it out.
D'Amico's a gas mask guy.
No, I guess not. I mean, he's hitting the gas mask a little too much on the in between games. You know what I mean? So maybe that's something to do with it. I don't know, but it's just something you just don't see a lot. Like I'm trying to think of after that, Tunsil's the only one. Tunsil's been traded like 3 times.
It doesn't happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen often. But Laramie Tunsil, he's just either. Left tackles don't get traded unless you're Laramie Tunsil.
Exactly. I mean, like Trent Williams, he got traded, but he sat out a whole season, didn't he?
Yeah, because it was something with the team, with the Washington's doctors or whatever. I mean, he was basically like, I'm not playing for that dysfunctional organization anymore. But yeah.
Yeah. So, and Williams is a crazy man too. So he's not a normal human being in the head. You can watch him play, you can figure that out. So yeah. So
you show me a normal. You showed me a normal left tackle, and I'll show you a bad left tackle.
True.
You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. True. That's why he's a Hall of Famer, because he's crazy.
Yeah.
So big crazy dude. So it doesn't happen too often. So that would be interesting if they even went that route. I mean, because they probably could get something good for him if they did that, but you have to replace a left tackle. Like you'd be like because the
Yeah.
Chiefs lost their left tackle. Who was their left tackle when they were winning Super Bowls? Somebody player that was pretty
Orlando
good.
Brown.
Oh yeah, yeah. They let him go, and
Yeah.
now they're playing left tackle games. Like they're just throwing guys out there. Wanya
Yeah.
Morris, and he gets beat up. And they got like Kingsley went out there. He didn't last, and then they had to put Joe Thuney at left tackle, and then they traded Joe Thuney. So
yeah. And I guess that's the case study if you're like in Colton Miller's corner to like pay him of like look how long the Chiefs have been struggling to replace their left tackle. Good left tackles are hard to find, that's for sure. That's the argument against it. It's just a matter of what you think Colton Miller's future is like with maybe his body wearing down a little bit and him getting up there in age. So yeah.
Especially when you're drafting tackles, like that's why you have to draft them high, because the Chiefs don't draft high. They're taking Kingsley and Wanya Morris, and those guys are they're a little bit of projects because I mean they're not first round tackles. So and that's the struggle with tackle altogether, and that's why DJ Glaze might end up getting replaced because like what is his real highest of his potential anyways if they keep Colton Miller, you know what I mean? So so it's type of thing, man. Yeah. Anything else, man? Nothing else happening, right? I mean, it's pretty. There's all draft. John Switek and Pete Carroll didn't say anything. So,
all they said was like they don't see like Switek was basically like, he's not a believer in the no running backs in the first round, which tells me he's not going with the running back in the first round.
100%. Yeah. And he one thing that interesting that he mentioned was the trading back. He said that we do have 9 picks, so I don't know if we're gonna need to get more picks or add more additional picks to what they want to do in the draft, but that still might be a possibility if they trade back maybe at a later spot. I mean, or that's a sign that they might be like trading up because they got more picks. You know what I mean? Like I feel like at this point everything's the opposite. So
yeah, at this point it's the last little like smoke signal of the week before the draft.
Yeah. We don't plan on trading up, but if somebody
if it
calls
happens,
us,
if we get the right offer, the non-answer answer.
If you get the right offer, Yes, we know if you get the right offer, you'll trade back, John. You're not telling us anything. You know what I mean? All right, so Jordan Phillips, Armand Membou. Let us know about Jordan Phillips a little bit.
Yeah, so nose tackle, who's a really good run defender. I think he's probably one of the better players at taking on double teams here. I only have a couple clips of him specifically, like literally taking on double teams, and that I'm going to show here. But it's a little bit of would have been a lot more redundant if I had shared a bunch of his clips because he's not a guy that makes a ton of like plays off of him. But what he's going to do is he has really good technique to park himself in his gap and just kind of not move, just be that boulder against the run, even when taking on 2 guys. He is a former high school wrestler and weightlifter. And made Bruce Feldman's list with I think a 655-pound squat, something like that. Overhead pressed like 365 for a double. One of those crazy dudes who's just a monster in the weight room, and then kind of you can see how that translates in the in the trenches. And as far as him being like a pass rusher, definitely more of a project. He shows a lot of quickness and like pretty good movement skills for his size on tape, and like we'll see a handful of him like just kind of winning as a pass rusher, but not necessarily getting sacks or pressures. Didn't have any sacks in college, by the way, to put that out there now. But again, I'm not terribly concerned with that as a nose, and I think he's got enough traits that you could see him developing in that area and maybe being able to put some pressure. But definitely when he enters the league, like I think he could start at nose for the Raiders, but he is a 2-down player where you're taking him off the field. He's John Jenkins' replacement to a T if you're drafting this dude. The other thing that's kind of works in his favor too is I wasn't able to confirm this, but Dane Brugler posted that he's like only 20 years old, so super young, especially in the COVID draft classes or the post-COVID draft classes where we get like 25-year-old dudes in the that are going to be rookies that spent 6 years in college, who's only at Maryland for 2, Tennessee for 1. So yeah, the biggest knock on him that I can say there that makes me concerned a little bit is about his projection and him maybe failing in the NFL, even at his role. He has short arms. He's like 31 and a half, which can be an issue at nose, especially when you're supposed to, be able to lock out guys in two gap and be able to escape blocks. But it wasn't that much of a problem for him in college. So I'm not terribly concerned about it, but that is one of the things where like I've seen him. He had like this weird peak where like at the Shrine Bowl, he started gaining momentum. And then at the combine, when he kind of came in with those poor measurements, tapered off and maybe lost a little bit of steam too. But he's a guy I like in probably closer to the 4th round. Maybe if he's still around in the 5th, that I'd like him a lot. But yeah, he's a dude who just kind of plug him in at the middle of your defense and just let him eat up space and eat up gaps for the entire game.
Yeah, I was looking at his stats. I mean, his 40, not his 40 time, but his combine stats. He ran an 8.193 cone, man.
Yeah, that was ugly. And it was like, I'll show you some of these clips. I'm like, what? There's no way that was the same guy. I mean, he's not like a dude who's like super like lateral, like super good lateral movement, but like I thought he was going to go to the combine and continue to build his stock. And then all of a sudden I look at his numbers. I'm like, what did I miss something when I was watching? But maybe I did. But yeah, his film was a lot better than the athleticism he shows on film was a lot better than what he showed at Indianapolis.
Interesting. I was like, man, I don't know how that has to be. I haven't seen a 3-cone in the 8s in a minute.
That was bad. I saw that too. It was rough.
Woo, man. All right, so now to Arman Mimu, who's definitely more athletic than Jordan Phillips.
Yes,
that's for sure. 332 pounds. He came in. It looked like Jordan Phillips lost some weight too. I wanted to mention that, like, because the combine 312 looked like he was listed at like 320, so he probably lost some weight a little bit too. He tried to be more athletic and it didn't work out for him. But Membou is 6'4", 332, 33.5-inch arms. I mean, the 4.91. The athleticism is off the charts, right? I mean, and then the power that he has when he's run blocking is pretty special. I think he's a great run blocker. He can come in and run block for you right away in zone, especially in the zone schemes, because the way he can move, and if you get him out in space, he can make some plays for you, and he makes some really big blocks for you as well out in space. It's just more in pass protection. I don't know if you noticed this, Matt, but he's always late with his hands. Like he's late with his hands in the run. He's late with his hands in pass protection, and he just lets guys in his chest all the time. And I think that he was able to get away with it in college because he's so strong. But like, against like Texas A&M, like Shamar Stewart, and even I think it's Nick Shelton, Nick Scourton. I looked it up. I was like, who's number 11? So I had to go look it up. They were giving him some issues. And, one of the reasons they're giving issues because, I mean, they're gaining the leverage on him by, getting their hands on him first. And so that's a little concerning, in my opinion. I think you're going to have to get his hands faster. And also since he's late with his hands too, at times he ends up leaning because he's like punching so late, and it just doesn't in pass protection just needs a little bit of work, you know what I mean? But so if the Raiders were trying to play it safe, right, and not just base betting on the athleticism, they're going to go Will Campbell probably over Membou, because I just, from watching Will Campbell, I just think he's cleaner. He's just a cleaner player, right? And Membou just I think he has a lot of work in pass protection that he has to he just has to deal with and figure out that, you're not going to be able to get away with just letting, I'm trying to think of, let's say, Nick Benito in your chest. Like, they're just not going to work. It's not going to work, man.
Yeah, with his hands, I think he has like fast hands, but I do agree that he with late and kind of expects and kind of opens up his chest a little bit. Like that was definitely like his pass rush reps where he starts to maybe not necessarily lose, but like where he starts giving up ground is when he gives up his chest and didn't quite have like, I don't know if it's the flexibility or a lower body strength issue where he couldn't like sink and re-anchor. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I kind of felt like he had quick hands when he would shoot him, because there were a couple times like in that Texas A&M game where he was shooting his hands quick and stopping Scoured and Stewart's moves before they even happened. Mm-hmm. But I definitely agree with you, like that he does have a tendency to expose his chest, and like there can be times where like it looks like he has a little bit weaker of a base to be able to sit and park himself against really good bull rushers, which is going to be his biggest issue. But as far as in the running game, I mean, I don't know which clips you have, but I don't know if there's a better reach blocker in this draft class. There were some nice clips of him blocking on the edge.
Yeah, dude. He is built for outside zone. I mean, that is a guy that he'll come in and help the outside zone right away. If if that's what Chip Kelly wants to do, that they get his zone back, and especially they have Raheem Moser there anyways, right? So they're gonna run outside zone at some point. So
Yeah.
he's a fit for that, right? He's a fit for what you want to do there. But yeah, and you're right. Like sometimes his hand placement is not bad. Like it's not like he's a bear hugger or anything like that, or
Mhm.
it's just like when you're you know trying to do like some mind games and the guy just goes in your chest. You're like, ah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Trying to be like trying to be savvy with your hands, and you're just don't have that timing yet. I mean, it's something he can get better at, but it's something that like will pop up. Definitely year one. Year
Yeah.
one, he's on the field and he's going to be going against some guys. They're just going to see that he leaves his chest open. And that's what they're going to do. They're not even going to do anything else. They're going to do power rushes until he can stop it. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a bit of his issue overall, in my opinion. So, but
Yeah, for sure.
all right, let's do. All right. So of course, we can start off with some run blocking here on this first one here. Basically, him in the outside zone here. It seems how he can just able to get in space. I like how he read this too. How he
Yeah.
went to zero. He realized 87 was able to get up to um, zero right here, and then he gets up to Demetrius Knight there. You see him just drive Knight all the way back there, and even though the running back didn't end up getting anywhere near him, you still see just the movement skills, the athleticism here to be able to block in spaces is great placement here. And he's got really good technique on this one, I believe. Like, and he's able to just push that guy, push Demetrius Knight there.
The right guard and the center are on the same page. Like he's got a great lane to cut towards the middle of the field right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you open that up right nice. All right, here's another one here.
This one's my favorite.
Yeah. When he's driving this dude with one arm and then blocks another dude.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
I was just saying, what I like too is like he looks like he was expecting help from the guard, but the guard like it looks like it was supposed to be a combo block, but then the guard realized, oh no, he's got this, and goes to help the center instead.
Yeah,
and
he's got that
picking off the linebacker too. Like that's
just hell of a rap man right here. This one, but this is saying day one, you're gonna get a good run. You're getting like a low key great run blocker. I mean, that's basically the message here. Here he is against Vanderbilt on this one. Kind of same thing, outside zone. See him. What I like about this one too is that, like I said, his placement is always good. Like how he uses his hands, how he gets under right there. Make sure he can find a way to get leverage. Maybe you can say pad level's pretty good there. I really like this block too here. See him drive, open up that lane. Missouri ran the ball a lot too last year. That was super interesting. I got Luther Burden, and he's just running the ball. Number 8 must be. He's pretty good though. All right. Now, here is a inside zone, I believe. Yeah, some inside zone on this one, and getting the full on pancake there. Like I said, you get the combo block here. See, like I said, he has the really good pad level there. Gets his hands inside there, and he's able to start driving. And he's so strong. Like this number 9 here has no shot, right? And of course, you can say the pancake is part of the trip, but he's still getting driven back like that, creating that big old hole right there on the inside zone, and that little combo block, right? Like a split zone too. Just drive me to the ground.
Really good on combos, both ends too.
All right, this is my favorite combo block. He just basically just just takes that dude out. Just give a little bump, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you could make the case that maybe he should have went up to the linebacker there.
I remember this clip, and that was the only reason why I didn't share it. I'm like, I love the first level, but buddy, what are we doing? Standing around watching, like
it was like he just loved that he laid that guy out. He's just watching, like, yeah, I laid him out. I'm like, dog, you got to block this guy too. He's a combo block.
Make this a great play.
It is because the running back might make a play right there on that one. So this was just funny. But I mean, this is something that shows about film all the time with him. But it's just like, just kind of showing his power there.
Yeah. No. He's like marveling at his artwork.
I know. Like he's even confused. He's like, what happened? All right. Here's another run in the run game here. And just kind of base. Not see there he did it.
There we go.
There we go. There we go, Membou.
Now he does it on the RPO.
But yeah, this was an RPO on this one, but it's like this. I thought this was really good rep, but it's like this is what he's supposed to do last time. But you see the same power he got on 17. Like it's the same hit on the combo block. Like he is just boom, just hitting him, knocking him off on the ground, off balance, and then getting to the second level right there, getting some drive on him. So like I mean, let's say this running back caught the ball, kept the ball, which I mean, you make the case that maybe the quarterback should have handed him the football. I mean, he has a pretty nice lane there. But he's smarter than me because he scored a touchdown. So
when in doubt, throw it a burden.
Exactly. But yeah, this is funny. It's the same exact concept, but he actually does it correctly, and you could still see how powerful he is. He just bullying 17 on the inside zone. Here's some outside zone. I really like this one. You talk about reach blocks, how he basically just does a screen here. Does a screen block.
The butt block.
But it's the athleticism too, right? Because right, you see how fast he moves, his burst, the way his get off is, that he's able to basically beat his guard to the spot and able to get in front of this guy like that and be able to make that play like that way.
Yeah, his get off is elite. He gets out of his stance really quickly.
Yeah, you can even see it. Like he gets out of his stance, quicker than most of his team does.
Yeah.
Another good block there. I'm saying he's clean, very clean as a run blocker. All right, here's another one here.
Oh, yeah.
Now this one here, getting outside here. And what I liked about this one is that he's able to kind of close 11 off here. It kind of just, which like I said, it's all about get off here on you're running outside zone here, just to be able to get around that guy that quickly, right? And kind of beat him to the spot, because even if he comes inside here, and you can make the case that maybe he could have seal this block off a little bit better and not let him come inside there, but even then he got in front of him so well that the running back's able to get outside.
Yeah. His hips too, to just get all the way around seamlessly.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I mean,
if that guy, if Scorton comes, I was just gonna say, if Scorton shoots up the field like this, we'll take that on the offensive line, because ideally our running back's out of the gate at that point, and you're just gonna run right by him.
All right, here's another one here. It's more outside zone here on this one. Now, this one he ends up getting beaten. This was talking about a little bit of waiting to punch here, because you see how Scranton kind of just gets his hands on him so quickly right there, right? And his hands are still aren't on Scranton, right? He hasn't made that placement, so Scranton has full leverage here, right? And he's able to, and he gets a little off balance here. He's not able to hold the block, because he puts him in more of a leaning position. And he just tosses him, makes that tackle. It's a great play though. That's why this play made me go look him up. It's like, who the hell is that guy? He didn't come out this year, did he?
No, he's a late first, second round pick.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Scorton. No.
How is Stewart going over him? I'm sorry, this is
Stewart's just got better trades.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right, yeah. So now let's get to pass protection here. Like with the athleticism and the feet is not an issue, but what I'm saying, this one kind of highlights it a little bit, because you see here, he's waiting to punch, but he has a good punch right there, right? But still, in my opinion, he's leaning a little bit, and then the guy's able to get back inside of his chest here. He's kind of a little awkward rush, because he's trying to rip, but he decides I could maybe just try to run through him. You see he has a little bit of struggle with the anchor and forces the quarterback to have to get out of the pocket there. But in my opinion, in the NFL, this ball should be out, right? I mean, ball should be out. I mean, if you're getting sacked off that, I don't know how much I put that on him, but you just see maybe some of the things that might come up in the NFL. Because in college, he can get away with some of this stuff, man.
Yeah, he definitely likes to lean. He definitely has a problem with leaning.
Yeah, so you see here again. You see the lean again on this one. He gets a little help from the chip block, but I like this one because the guy tries to go for the chop here on the hands. He's kind of able to avoid that, and he gets a little help there. And but the lean a little bit still allows Scranton to come back inside, even though Cook is getting beat there, so he's not able to get a hold of him. What I would say, but I still think he has really good feet though. Like the feet, he's able to get in position. He doesn't overset a lot, so it doesn't get awkward with his feet. All right, next one here. See, this is another rep, but like you could kind of see like how powerful he is on this one, but
Yeah.
also my point of like because he tries to give like a little fake punch here. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes he could just get too cute with it. Like you try to get this fake punch and like Scranton is just like, nope, I'm just gonna run right through you. But he gets a little help from the guard here, but he's still a lot of his power too is able to kind of knock him over there.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch Brady Cook run over the field. All right, next one here. This is probably one of his best reps. I mean, the ball gets out of there quick, but you still see a little bit of a lean there. But he's able to time his punch here, win the punch battle basically, and Scranton doesn't really have a counter here to get around him because he went for basically trying to go for the chop again, but he's able to close it off, get that like outside punch there first, and then kind of get some leverage there. But the feet are nice. I like his feet, so he get it's if you have I feel like having bad feet is worse than a punch. So right, you see it right there, but you see the lean a little bit again right there, but it's another good rep by him. Okay, now like the guy tries to go for the chop. He's like, you aren't chopping my huge arms. He's able to land that punch there, get it in there. It's like the lower body is fine. It's just you just got to get that some of that upper body movement here better here. So like this one when you see him when he's not leaning, right? It's just it looks like a great rep here. So you see him right here. He doesn't have that lean. He kind of just gets that punch in there, right? I mean, even this one, I feel like he kind of waits for it a little bit. But this Vanderbilt guy, I don't know if he's going to the league or not, but probably not. Maybe if he plays the SEC, so I'm not gonna knock him. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just if you allow people into your chest like that, I mean, you're just the NFL guys gonna be able to move you, right? Because even if you look at how this looks here, this guy's still inside of his chest, and you know what I mean. That's Khalil Mack. He's getting lifted up. All right, here's a good one. Watching him pick up stunts. But I think he does a good job of this too. I think he was really smart tackle as well. Not the best stunt right there by Vanderbilt, but he's still able to see it, pick it up. So, he sees it really quickly too. Like, I mean, it could have been a better stunt from Vanderbilt, but you still see some good good job picking up a stunt there. And here's another rep here. That's the same play. Here we go. Here we go. This is probably like one of my favorite reps against Scranton here because he went up against Scranton a lot, not Shamar Stewart that much. Right. And because he basically waited for him to commit a little bit. And he's able to get his hands on him. Right there. Because he
Yeah.
loves his little fake punch, man. You got to have some better timing when you're going to do these fake punches. That's just basically what it is. He gets a little too cute. Like he's trying
Yeah,
to
he
show
does.
off. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say part of it is like he does stuff like that. Like he'll mess with his sets, but I can where like he'll do like a lot of the niche stuff, but like I do agree with you is like fundamentals could use a little more work because he will get caught every now and then doing stuff like that.
Yeah. It's like he's trying to do trick shots and he needs to make sure you make the shot first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get a rep like this against Shamar Stewart. where you try to do your little
Yeah.
trick shots, but then he knows it, and he's a smarter player. He just goes right into your chest. It's like he just I'm gonna put my shoulder pads right in your chest. Then you get caught leaning there, and then he just pushes you back easily, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I would consider this. I mean, you're making the quarterback move a little bit. I mean, the pocket's collapsing,
Yeah.
and maybe say the quarterback could step up a little bit, but the pocket still collapsed on that rep. So this one I'm talking about, like when you letting guys in your chest, and you get to first round caliber athlete. Because I don't think he's better than Scranton, just for watching the film, but me personally. But if you know what I mean, like it's that type of
Yeah.
thing. And then you see him on this one, and even when he's caught inside, you see there's this full on lean here instead of just kind of keeping his base here and using his athleticism. I mean, he's athletic enough to recover here, but I think he's also athletic enough to um, to not start have to lean and try to keep up with him in that way. I think he could adjust just laterally with his athleticism, so he kind of
Yeah.
gets fully caught right here. And if he didn't get help inside from the guard, he's definitely beat on this one. And here's one against Vanderbilt. And this one, like I said, a lot of guys when they do end up beating him, it's when they just go straight into his chest. They don't even do too much. And
Yeah.
he still had a pretty good anchor on this one. But like I said, like if that was Shamar Stewart, I mean, he's probably getting pushed all the way back, you know,
Yeah.
um, against certain guys. So that's a nice catch for Burton there. All right, yeah. So that's Armand Mimu. Um, like I said, it's run blocking is really not a problem at all. I mean, I showed like one bad rep, but like that was, I think Scranton is a pretty good player, so that's a guy who's good, be drafted at a good spot. So those things are going to happen against good players with him until he fixes a lot of his just small issues that I don't think are like too big, but I think they're things that will show up as a rookie
Yeah.
that like that he's gonna have to figure out, right? I mean a good pass rusher is going to see that you give up your chest and like things like that, especially throughout the game. That's what a pass rush plan really is, right? Like is adjusting to what the lineman does, how he's playing you, and then by the third quarter, this guy's just bull rushing you every single time. You know what I mean? And maybe faking that outside rush and things, going into a bull rush, right? So a lot of those things keep happening. You're going to see that on film, and you're going to know how to attack Membou. So yeah, it's something he definitely needs to work on, though.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think you pointed this out. Like he kind of relied on just kind of winning with his strength and athleticism, his like natural gifts, where his technique needs some work. And
Mhm.
you kind of touched on this. Like to me, the way I look at the top two offensive linemen, the top two offensive tackles in this class, Will Campbell and Membou, which I don't think there's even a debate on who those two guys are.
Mhm.
But the difference is Campbell has the cleaner tape, and I think Campbell is probably more like the sure thing as just an offensive line prospect, but he might be better suited at guard. Whereas to me, Membou has a higher ceiling, and I think he can be the better tackle in the NFL because of his traits and his athleticism. Like he does kind of remind me a lot, and maybe I'm making this connection just because of Spytech. He does kind of remind me of Tristan Wirfs a little bit. Like if you remember Tristan Wirfs coming
Mhm.
out of Iowa, I think he
Yeah,
was the fourth. Was he the fourth offensive tackle in that? It was a
yeah,
good offensive tackle class with like Andrew Thomas and Jedrick Willis, who didn't end up panning out.
yeah.
But I think Wirfs was like the fourth guy taken, and he was kind of like the same thing, like where he was a little bit more just physically gifted and kind of got away with that, and then
Mhm.
it went into the NFL. Luckily, like for him, I think that's one of the things that might scare you a little bit if you like Membou, and they're gonna have to throw him into the fire and play him at left tackle. The difference between Wirfs and like Membou's projection is Wirfs got to play right tackle, which is where he primarily played at Iowa, right away in the NFL, develop a little bit, and then Donovan Jackson, when his contract was up, they switched him back over, and it was a seamless transition because he's such a good athlete.
Mhm.
Whereas what we're talking about with Membou, like we're talking at the beginning of the show, like if they're unless they do keep Colton Miller for a year and put Membou at right tackle or put him at guard for a season and then kind of let him switch over after letting Colton Miller walk in the offseason, like if you have to throw him into the fire, it's going to be a baptism by fire. You know what I mean? Where like he might have a tough rookie season because his technique's not quite there yet.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, there's gonna be some growing pains with him, And
Yeah.
with Will Campbell, I feel like you would get a more consistent player right away, even if you move him to guard, right? Just because
Yeah.
technique wise, he's clean, and a lot of those things, he's just a cleaner prospect. Membou, I'm not saying he's a project because I don't think it's that bad. Like it's not like it's
Yeah,
something that like freaks you out a little bit, but there is some things that he's just not as clean as I would say. He's an athletic freak with a very talented run blocker who has he has the ability to become a great pass protector. You just got to clean it up, and it's not thing. It's to me it's easier things than like DJ Glaze, which like DJ Glaze he just kind of just doesn't have the athleticism to go against
right.
speed rushers sometimes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's never gonna get to the point where he's beating speed rushers and he's controlling them if they keep going
yeah,
around the edge enough. So Membou, like it's fixable thing that if he works on it, get some coaching, I think it could work out.
yeah. I mean, if there are technical flaws with the guy, I'm going to bet that the high level athlete is going to be able to eventually figure it out. It's just a matter of how soon he can figure it. Start off, like I said, with a couple of the clips, just as a few examples. So hopefully you can get the picture of what he can do against the double teams. This one going to be against Michigan State here. I believe it's a little, maybe a little duo. I think. Oh no, a little power because we got the tight end puller. But either way, going to be facing the double team here from the guard and the center and the guard. And one of the things that I like about him that he does a really good job of is one, you can see the pad level. I mean, this center is pretty damn low. He's even lower. Part of that is, and this will come up in the next rep too, he might play with the widest base I think I've ever seen, which is fine at nose tackle because, again, we're trying to get low and trying to stay in our gap. Like you see, like at the point of attack, great pad level. What I like is he attacks the man he lined up across from. That's one of the big things with taking on double teams. Sometimes you'll see guys try and like put one hand here and one hand on the guard. That's where you end up getting screwed. But what he does a great job is I'm going to attack and beat this guy. And now as I feel this pressure from the guard, you'll start to see him kind of turn and rotate. And he does what's called like a corkscrew technique where you drop to one knee.
Mm-hmm.
And what that basically does is one, gives you even more of a leverage advantage, and two, it reduces the surface area that this guard has to block. So he ends up splitting the double team. And because we're so focused on beating this the center, the guy we're lined up across from, I mean, now it's a good example. You can see where his leverage advantage comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to win at the point of attack and go escape the block. Now, I don't think he makes a tackle if this other DT or the DN doesn't make the play. But we're at least getting involved in there and getting involved in the picture, maybe showing up on the stat sheet with a half tackle. Another one here against Michigan State. This time the guard kind of fires off a little bit harder, and you can see that. But this is where I was talking about with where his base comes into play. You don't get to see his other foot, but I think you can kind of get the idea. Like his one foot is splitting the center, and the other foot is even with the guard's inside foot. Just to give you an example, again. So guard's going to fire off a little bit more, going to lose a little bit, give up a little bit of ground initially. I think his foot might even come off the ground a little bit there too. Yeah. But because he's so low, because he's so damn strong, again, high school weightlifter, freaky type of freaky numbers in the weight room, he's able to just absorb the contact and then eventually get off and be able to pursue and go get involved, get in the picture at least to make this play. By the way, we'll see a bunch of this clips from this Michigan State game. If you want to sell yourself on Jordan Phillips, go back and watch this. He was a monster. Moving on to a few more of the one-on-one blocks. This one, I actually think technically it's a combo block. We're going to see this right tackle kind of work down on him too, but it really ends up being more of a one-on-one. And part of the reason for that is he just wins at the point of attack. A little late on the get off here against this outside zone, which means he's not going to quite win across the guard's face. But you can see the power, like, again, the strength, just gains control of the block, great leverage, gets his hand right under the armpit, ends up escaping and going and getting involved in the tackle. Again, watch this Michigan State game. Here's a good example of that base. I mean, both feet are outside the center.
Is that coached? Is that a coaching thing? Like, why was he doing that?
It could be. I've had like coaches, like especially when we're playing nose, to have them do it because again, like you're not as worried about your get off, you're more worried about your base and having a wide base.
Okay.
To get low, but yeah, it could be because in passing downs he narrows it up a little bit. But yeah, same kind of thing here. Again, technically a combo block, but really more of a one-on-one. Just beats up the center, and when that running back again gets tied up in the backfield. He's able to escape and then go get involved in the tackle on this one. Again, just eating up one-on-one blocks. Can't leave him alone in the running game for sure.
Yeah, he's destroying 61, man.
Oh yeah. 61 had a rough one. This one I like too because this to me like showed off his brute strength more than anything. He almost like asked to get double teamed because if you watch, I don't know if they had like some sort of stunt like that was supposed to be called where he slants and then the DN like loops around. The way they are aligned pre-snap kind of says that. And like if you watch, like he goes to attack the guard, just no one ends up looping around. Like he attacks the guard, but like also keeps his inside hand on the center. And the guard wants nothing to do with them. So he just says, all right, I'm just going to keep this center on my hip. Now I'm done with you. And now I'm going to go make the tackle. So again, this like to me, you know what I was just talking about of bad technique of taking on double teams. He doesn't take on a double team, but he is holding off the center with one arm and attacking the guard with the other and successfully doing it. So again, just speaks to how strong he is because the fact that he can do that.
Yeah, he's strong. He is strong as hell. Yeah, crazy.
Hit 29 reps on the bench press, which you can imagine. Short arms help, but like what I like about this play too is like you can see him again lined up at that nose spot. But what he's going to get is this down block on this. I believe it's going to be counter from USC, and like you'll notice, like as soon as he sees that center, the center start to work down and go kick out or take care of the defensive end here. Like just watch Phillips' eyes here. As soon as that center goes across, he immediately gets it to the guard right here. And is in a great position to be able to take on this block again. Great leverage at the point of attack. That wide stance and not being the tallest dude in the world helps. And then just kind of locks him out, easily sheds, and ends up making the tackle.
Yeah, it's a nice play.
Yeah. This one is just almost pure dominance at the point of attack. Again, doesn't make the play here. He's on the backside, actually lined up as a 2-eye here instead of his normal nose spot. But again, just boom. Great leverage, nice hands. Like you can see his hands are right here inside on the guard's chest. Lock him out and go ahead and start pursuing on the backside of the run. Again, would not leave him one-on-one if I'm an offensive coordinator. Back at the nose spot here again. This little outside zone. This time he does a better job of, I think, getting off the ball and recognizing it. Again, see that wide base. Locks him out. Doesn't quite make the tackle here, but that's mainly because this D tackle's also beating up the guard, and he kind of gets hip bumped here. Doesn't get a clean block. Like the center's grabbing his waist and holding on. Yeah. But at the very least, we're making that running back bounce and letting our teammates go and pursue on that one. So again, just the pure strength at the point of attack is impressive.
Yeah.
This one is. I don't think I've seen many guys hop, like leave their feet. He uncorks his hips here to reset the line of scrimmage, but I don't think I've seen many guys leave both of their feet, like this little hop here, and never even like get close to losing control of the block. He might be doing a little two gapping here too. Like you'll see him start to show color in that side, in this side A gap, and then when the running back kind of stays on his path and goes to the play side A gap, just seamless, nice little hump move. If you watch his outside hand or his right arm here to get off that block, nice little hump move to go escape. Again, go get involved in the tackle.
That was like a literal defensive tackle drill right there.
Yeah, pretty much. This one's a little bit of the same thing. Again, like just sitting and parking at the line of scrimmage, resetting the line of scrimmage, winning at the point of attack. For some reason, I guess he thought maybe the running back was going to kind of try and cut inside here and almost screwed himself out of the tackle. But either way, he's just so dominant at the point of attack. It doesn't matter. He can still win across that guard's face and go get involved in the play. The other thing I like about him too is he also has this nice little arm over move as a changeup to escape blocks here. Like we saw 61 having a tough time. So blocking him and winning at the point of attack. So you're going to watch 61. He's going to snap the ball and just fire off and get out and get on, try and get on Phillips. But what Phillips does is just nasty. It's like, all right, you're going to lean. I'm going to catch you leaning with this nice little dirty spin move and give you something else to think about. Next time you block me. Going to see a similar one. This rep's going to be even better here against Minnesota. Again, just the spin move. So when you're dominant at the point of attack and on top of it, you have some of the quickness and the movement skills. And this is what I was talking about where this testing didn't make sense. to be able to do this too, like you're just giving offensive linemen so many things to think about. And it's like, if I can't fire off and get into this guy, and I can't just kind of sit back and like let him come to me, he becomes hard to block. It becomes a problem. All right, going to move on to, again, more of the potential with his pass rush and a few of his good reps. Again, not going to see any sacks here. Didn't have any in college. And most of these reps came against Michigan State. This was, again, his best game, and definitely his best as a pass rusher. But you'll see his nice little spin move. And one thing I like about it, I'll let it run once full speed so you can kind of see the quickness he has with it. But what I really like about this is, and I've talked about this before, it's called the ice pick. Watch this outside watch his arm right here and what he does with it and how he clears the center's hands here. Like right now, perfect technique to like pick to get the guy's hands off of him. And then look where the center's hands are at now. Now he's basically grabbing at air. And that's often the difference between a good and a bad spin move. And we'll see a bunch of examples of that. This one was an even better one. I mean, guard still kind of was able to get a little bit of his waist. But this one, he actually ends up getting the pressure on. And I mean, you can see it, like just how violent and active he is with his hands while spinning to be able to go get that pressure and force the quarterback out of the pocket. So I'll take that from my nose tackle again. I'm not expecting him to be a 10 or double digit sack guy, but if he can give me pressure every now and again on the first and second down runs, I'll take that. I mean, you'll see another great ice pick here. Like this one gets him in the head. That probably hurt.
Oh my god, he's just dominating. He's 61, man. Good lord,
61. Phillips owes you a drink or something after this one because he ends up on the ground. Man, I didn't realize how bad that was on the back of the head. That had to hurt. A nice little elbow bruise after that.
Yeah.
See one more. Sorry, 61. This one not quite as quick, I think, later in the game, but you can see just the arms, like, again, like this is a good view here, like what that ice pick can do, right? He's got, you can see this, if you watch this hand come through, he just pins that inside hand down or that right hand down to the center and ends up getting the pressure again.
It's nice, right? I mean, he doesn't have any sacks, but like it's just some potential to get sacks, though, kind of.
Exactly. At the very least, get some pressures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This time, I'm gonna do a little bull rush, more the power rush here. It gets a little bit of help. It looks like that guard tripped initially on the center, but again, as strong as that dude is, and as nasty as he is at the point of attack against the run, like he should be able to develop a bull rush. This next one, actually a pretty nice little cross chop here. Like you'll see him kind of knock the hands down, get that outside hand. And I was also, I mean, for a dude who's like 315 pounds, it's a nice bend.
Yeah.
Turn that
corner.
Say,
like the 8.19, like what was that about, man? Was he hurt?
Maybe, man. I don't know. It didn't make a ton of sense. I don't know. Maybe he's better at the pro day or what. But this last rep, I mean, this is a dirty push pull move. I mean, it's perfect right there. Like this is the defensive line equivalent of the snatch and trap technique. And I mean, when you get the center eating turf pellets, it's a good rep. I don't know what happened on the secondary and the back end there, but either way, nice pass rush clip. So again, hopefully that kind of came through. Like we're like, you know, I think you mentioned it. Like the testing that he showed at the combine did not match up with what he showed on tape, and even at the Shrine Bowl too. Like that was how I kind of got introduced to Jordan Phillips, was just seeing him practice against those dudes and go up against the one-on-ones, where he actually looked really good as a pass rusher. He was setting up moves, like winning inside and outside, doing a lot of nice things in the one-on-ones at the Shrine Bowl, where you're like, man, where's this kind of tape? But again, where he kind of showed some of his quickness and athleticism. So I think he's definitely more potential as a pass rusher, obviously with no sacks, but to me, he's a guy that you could put him in day one and he could be your starting nose tackle, even as like a day 3 pick, which doesn't happen often. But yeah, I'm a big fan of his game. I love Jordan Phillips. He's one of my guys in this year's draft class. And part of it too is he's young, only 20 years old, so should have plenty of potential and obviously strong as an ox.
Yeah, I had to go look up the center for Michigan State. And he's actually good. Tanner Miller. 16.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he has a good pass blocking grade, 76.9. He's only given 13 pressures all year.
13 pressures, and 3 of them were against Jordan
Uh,
Phillips. At least
I was like,
maybe
is this
5.
guy bad? You know what I mean? He's not, bro. He's not bad at all. So he's a pretty good player. So it works out. But yeah, I was impressed with that stuff, man. I'm not like my legs is tripping today, guys. I'm sorry. My house is haunted or something. But
We got the club version of TDL today.
yeah, club
The strobe
TDL
light.
today. The strobe light. This is tripping, man. I like move towards it. It's like starts flickering on me. That's weird. All right, but yeah, I thought he played like just looked like he could rush the passer, man. He looks like he was more athletic than
Yeah.
what his athletic profile is, and that's why I mean, the profile though is going to scare people. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, and then no sacks with that profile. Yeah, he's could probably be a guy that would be there. Lance Erline had him like 6 or 7, and he probably will be there like in the 5th or 6th or 7th, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe if a team, they trust the tape and they want to go with the film, and they might take him higher than that. But yeah, it's just to kind of have that, maybe he fixed it as pro day. That could be like a thing too. So
Yeah.
could be an option. But yeah, it was just impressive, man. I was impressed by that because he has just good film. Like he's able to kind of with his hands and everything, and his pad level was great, and and then adding in the kind of the athleticism with some of the pass rush moves, like me doing spin moves and stuff, like 8.19, man. Like what were you doing? Did you like
Yeah. Like I said, does not make any sense, but
no.
yeah. And if he does slide because of it, I mean, he could end up being one of those guys that's the diamond in the rough, and whoever ends up getting him, hopefully it's the Raiders, ends up getting a gem, ends up getting a starter for several years. Because again, like what he does in the running game, like that's what ultimately what you're drafting him for. And there are not many guys who can do what he does. To me, he reminds me a lot of like Andrew Billings, except I think Billings ended up having like decent arm length, but that was my comp for him is with Billings, who had a pretty good year 1 year for the Raiders and has had a pretty solid career just plugging up gaps as a run defender and occasionally contributing in the passing game.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. So that's the episode. That's our last draft breakdown episode, guys. The draft is coming. It's the last one. So like I said, there's a whole bunch of them. So I mean, we've been doing this since January. It's April. It's about 4 months of draft stuff. I mean, yeah. So basically over that, because we started like early January because the Raiders don't make the playoffs, so we started early. So so that so definitely check that out. Go check out all those drafts, all the mock drafts we've done, everything that we've done this whole draft season. Like, this is your chance to check them out. If they draft some of these players, you'd have a breakdown. We're probably gonna do another one. These guys probably took more in depth look into to these guys at the end of drafting these players. So definitely be on the lookout for that as well coming after the draft. And then of course we'll be doing going live. Matt will be in and out because he's got right about it. If they trade up, he's gonna be in and out a little bit, but we definitely me, him, and Glenn doing that. And then me and Matt are gonna do a big board on Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that as well, guys. And like I said, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. We're out of here. Peace.